In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 profitable side hustles that will allow you to quit your job. This isn't going to be the typical side hustles you hear about that will only make a couple of dollars here or there. These side hustles will allow you to quit your job if you stay consistent with them. I'm super excited to share these with you as I'm currently doing some of these and it allowed me to quit my job in less than 1 year. Stick around to the end and I'll share with you one of my favorite ways to earn passive income. So with that, let's get into it. The first side hustle is Airbnb co-hosting. This is one of my favorite side hustles on the list because you can start with $0. Now, before we get into this, let's talk about what co-hosting is. Co-hosting is essentially being the property manager for an Airbnb owner. What you'll be doing is managing the day-to-day for an investor, so that includes communicating with guests, cleaners, and contractors. Now, before you completely brush this one off, let's talk about the potential earnings for this. Most property managers will charge anywhere from 15 to 40% of the gross revenue. So let's say you're managing 5 properties that gross $30,000 per month. Even on the low end of 15%, you make $6,000 per month for a side hustle that literally costs you $0 to start. You might be asking yourself, why would an investor agree to do this? Well, first of all, most investors invest because they want their investment to be passive. There are plenty of investors out there that would sacrifice some profit for an investment that requires little to none of their time. Another question you might be asking yourself is, I don't know anything about Airbnb management. Why would an investor agree to do this? And that's a fair question. The first thing you need to do, as does most things in life, is to study up and learn these skills. The great thing is there are tons of great resources out there that you can learn from. My good friend Michael Elefante's channel is a great place to start if you want to learn up on all things Airbnb. I'll leave his channel in the description below. You'd be surprised how many people refuse to take some time to learn a skill that they can get paid thousands of dollars for. Once you learn these skills, then comes the application. And I already know some of you will be asking, how do I find investors? There are so many places you can go to network. So a couple examples are, go to Facebook groups and search up Airbnb and the city you want to host in. Another good place to go is BiggerPockets forums. You can also go to local RIAs. You can also contact local cleaners that specifically do Airbnb and they can refer you to their owners. You can even put an ad out on Facebook or Craigslist. This is going to be your lead generator to speak and network with investors to work with. So to start off, it's going to be hard for an investor to agree for you to take a percentage split right off the bat, especially if you have no experience. So what I suggest doing is working for free for a month or even 2 months. Honestly, however long you feel comfortable with. Because the goal with this is number 1, to gain experience, and number 2, prove to the investor your worth. If you can prove that you can not only keep the property afloat, but that you're a strategic advisor for them by increasing bookings and revenue, I have no doubt in my mind that they will want to keep you around for the long haul. The best part is, the management aspect can be done remotely and only requires a few hours a week. You can automate a lot of the guest communication, cleaning schedules, and even pricing with tools like PriceLabs or Guesty. If you want a video tutorial on these tools, let me know in the comments. Once you get a couple of properties you manage under your belt, it becomes way easier to sell your services to other investors. In fact, if you're doing a good job, then those investors will tell their other investor friends. As you gain more experience and expertise, you can start to charge closer to the 40% gross revenue mark. Once that happens, that same $30,000 a month in revenue now becomes $12,000 per month for you. The second side hustle is to become an online coach. It's never been a better time to monetize your skills and expertise. Think about it, whatever you're currently knowledgeable or good at, you probably didn't learn from school. You probably learned through YouTube, books, or even an online course. Me being in the personal finance and investing space, I get dozens of DMs daily asking if I can help coach them. Obviously, this is an easy way that I can monetize that part of my business. Now, there might be a couple of things that come to mind for you. Either I'm not an expert at anything, or easy for you to say you already have an audience. So let's talk about each of these. You saying you're not an expert at anything is not a good enough excuse. Unless you've literally lived under a rock for all your life, there's something that you're good at. We live in a crazy age where there's a niche for everything. Like literally everything. There's gaming, there's rock collections, there's jewelry making, plant coach, fitness coach, etc. And yes, plant coach is a real thing. In fact, I took an online class where a plant coach walked us through how to create a cool looking succulent from scratch. A good exercise to do is pull out a sheet of paper. Like literally pause the video and go get a sheet of paper. Now write down everything you're interested in or have interest in. Now go through each one and pick 2 to 3 of those interests that you are most interested in or you're naturally good at. Once you've narrowed it down, pick one thing and learn as much as you can about it. You can do this for free by going on YouTube University, Google, etc. Even if you feel like you're an expert at a particular thing, there's probably a few more things you can learn about. The truth is, everyone that sells a course or is an online coach, you can get that information for free. But the reason people are still willing to pay is because they want to expedite the process. I've literally spent tens of thousands of dollars on mentorships and courses to speed up my learning curve on things I'm interested in. I know I could have gone and researched all that myself, but time is incredibly valuable to me. And this goes for a lot of people out there as well. If you do the upfront work and can become a one-stop shop for people to go to, that's an incredibly valuable skill to have that you can easily monetize. So become an expert at something and monetize it. Again, you can monetize any skill. Obviously, there are certain niches that are more easily monetizable than others, but the goal is to become an expert in something you enjoy, the money will follow. Now let's touch on the second most common excuse people have when it comes to this, and that's I don't have an audience. But with the rise of TikTok, IG Reels, and YouTube Shorts, it's never been an easier time to grow an audience. I literally had 0 followers in January of 2021, and I barely even knew social media at the time. I literally just picked up my phone and started talking about my journey and what I enjoyed talking about, which is investing in personal finance. I provided a ton of free value to my audience, which in turn grew my following. My first videos were absolutely awful looking back. Feel free to go take a look and please roast me in the comments. You'll never be perfect. The key is to just start. The most important thing is you need to provide value. If you're doing that, the followers and the money will follow. I know coaches in all different types of industries doing it full time, and some are making tens of thousands of dollars per month. My third favorite side hustle is start a boring business. Now I know most of you will skip this one, but this is arguably one of the best side hustles out there. You've probably already heard of most of these, but probably just brush them away because they aren't the sexy new side hustle that everyone is talking about. But that's where the opportunity lies. This is the one that most people skip over or don't want to do. Boring businesses are ones that you probably hear about but never really thought to do. These include window washing, mobile car detailing, dog groomers, etc. Let's talk about window washing for a second. During college, I wanted to start making money so I didn't have to go to work while going to school. Little did I know how much money I could actually make from it. So I remember printing out 500 flyers, and I went to some nice neighborhoods and started handing these out door to door. From those 500 flyers, I would get about 10% of the people calling me back. So from those 50 people, I would close about half of them. So from 500 flyers, I had almost 25 houses I could clean. And pro tip, best time to hand out flyers is during March or whenever winter is starting to slow down to get the most amount of interested people. I will charge anywhere from $1 to $7 per window and an additional $1 to $2 per window screen. Also, just for liability reasons, I will stay away from windows that are high up. Obviously, consult an attorney if you want to get liability insurance before you start. So the houses I was targeting, I can make anywhere from $150 to $200 per house. It would take me anywhere from 2 to 3 hours to clean a house, so the per hour on the side hustle can really get up there. The startup costs are minimal, and this is a business that is easily scalable. Once you start to get a solid customer base, you can hire out workers to clean the windows for you. Give them anywhere from 30 to 50% of the revenue from each house so you can step away from the actual cleaning. And you want to step away so you can be the one acquiring more customers. There is a huge opportunity here because most of the companies you're competing with don't have a great online presence. If you're simply asking every single one of your customers for reviews, you will eventually start to rank in Google search. And this in turn will allow you to get even more customers. And pro tip, make sure to get each customer's phone and email so you can follow up with them. There are plenty of free CRMs out there you can use for follow-up. This is where the real money is made. Again, most mom and pop shops have a weak online presence or don't use follow-up tools. So if you can streamline this, you will be way ahead of the game. My fourth favorite side hustle is pick up dog poop. Seriously, let me explain. I live in Salt Lake City, which has over 1 million people, and only 5-ish companies actually showed up on Google search. I'd imagine most of these companies aren't that good at online marketing. If you can scale and charge $30 to $40 per yard, this could add up quick. Okay, seriously though, this is another awesome business that most people will overlook. I mean, let's be real, no one likes picking up dog poop. But again, this is where you can have a competitive advantage doing something most people don't want to do. Let's talk about how much you can make from this side hustle. Again, I live in Salt Lake City, which has over 1 million people, and when I searched Google, only about 5 companies showed up. According to avma.org, 38.4% of US households own a dog. So if we do that math for here in Salt Lake, there are 384,000 people that own dogs. I own 2 dogs myself, and picking up their poop is honestly the bane of my existence. And this is a huge pain point that lots of people have. A lady in my neighborhood Facebook page posted that her sons were willing to pick up dog poop, and there was a huge demand of people interested. So initially to start, I would find your local Facebook groups and post that you're starting a dog poop cleanup service and that you'll be charging anywhere from $50 to $100 per yard. And that's going to depend on how long it's been since they last cleaned up and also the size of their yard. It probably took the people that I hired out about 1 hour to clean up my yard, and they charged me $50. The great thing about this business model is that it can easily turn into recurring revenue. You can charge a weekly, bi-weekly, or even monthly charge to come clean up. So if you're charging $20 for a weekly cleanup, and let's say you have 100 customers, that's $8,000 in recurring revenue each month. As you scale to more customers, you can see how things can add up. Like the other businesses, you'll want to start phasing out of actually doing the work so you can grow your business. But this is a great business model that can scale, has recurring revenue, and has a big addressable market that has a big pain point as well. My fifth favorite side hustle is door-to-door sales. Door-to-door sales is another side hustle I did throughout college and was extremely lucrative. My initial goal was to make enough money so I didn't have to work during the semesters, and I was able to do that and then some. Now, first thing I will say is that there are products and services that I would personally stay away from if you're going to do the side hustle. Low commission products like cleaning supplies, meat, or vacuums likely won't pay high enough commissions for it to be worth your time. Obviously, there are people killing it selling these, but for most people, the product and service I would lean towards is security, pest control, or solar. I personally sold pest control, and I'll get to how much I made here in a little bit. First, let's talk about how it works. It's really as simple as it sounds. You go door to door selling products or services on people's doorsteps. Before I went out to start selling, I was extremely skeptical that this wouldn't work. I I mean, who would buy from a stranger that came to their doorstep? But boy, was I wrong. Typically, you go out 4 months anywhere from April to August, and it's not like the typical 9 to 5 work schedule. I think of it more like a sprint where the only thing you're focused on is knocking and working anywhere from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So here's how the pay works. The first thing to keep in mind is that it's 100% commission based. Some of you might be scared to hear that, but I saw it as a huge opportunity. 100% commission typically means you get paid more per sale. So in my experience, my contract values for pest control services I was selling was anywhere from $400 to $550. Let's meet in the middle and call it $450. I was getting paid a 50% commission rate in my second year. And pro tip, if you're gonna do this, negotiate your commission to be at least 40 to 50%. This is something most of the door-to-door guys won't talk about. It'll be harder to convince to go any higher when you're first starting off and have no experience. But if you're confident and can back it up, then you shouldn't have any issues negotiating that higher. Good sales reps in pest control can sell anywhere from 3 to 10 contracts in a single day. I would say that the average rep sells about 1 to 2 contracts a day, so let's call it 1.5 sales per day. So if you're knocking for 4 months and typically you don't knock on Sundays, let's call it 100 knocking days over the course of the summer. If you get 1.5 sales per day at a 45% commission rate, you'll make over $30,000 in 4 months of work. That's a good amount of money for being average and only working for 4 months. Now, if you become a top performer and let's say sell 1,000 accounts, at a 50% commission rate, you can make over $225,000 in a few months. This can easily turn into a scalable business as well, and you can phase out of the day-to-day knocking. And this is what a lot of people do. If you get good at recruiting and can coach sales reps, you can earn override commissions on your sales reps you train and recruit. Now, obviously this takes time to build up to, but it's definitely doable, and lots of these regional managers are making hundreds of thousands of dollars doing this. For me personally, I managed a small team and made my own commissions, and my best summer was $100,000 in 3.5 months. And I know there will be comments on which companies are reputable, as you need to be careful with which companies you work for. For pest control, companies like Vantage Marketing and Aptiv are good. For security, Vivint is a reputable company. And solar, you can start with a company like Lumio. I'm not affiliated with any of these companies, but these are good companies I've personally worked for or know friends that have had good experiences with. Now you're earning all this money from side hustles, so now what do you do with it? Once you start making money from one of these side hustles, you'll want to start creating some passive income. There's a number of ways to do this, but one of the coolest and easiest ways that I found that earns you a super high interest is through Gemini Earn. One of the biggest mistakes I see people make is they start earning all this hard-earned money, but they are letting it erode away in a savings account, earning them 0.07%. Especially with inflation being at an all-time high, the longer you let your money sit doing nothing, the more and more inflation will erode it away. My formula is simple. I take my active income and use those funds to invest in passive income streams. Like I said, you can do this in a number of different ways, but investing through Gemini Earn has been one of the easiest ways for me. I'm making up to 8.05% in interest on my money for literally doing nothing. It's super easy and free to sign up, and I have a link in the description for you to check out. So there you have it. Those are my favorite side hustles you can start right now to start making some more money. I've chosen these side hustles for you to start because too many people don't start with the end in mind, which is that you want to eventually replace your full-time job with one of these side hustles. All the side hustles that I've talked about in this video are scalable to turn into legitimate businesses. The last thing you want to do is be stuck in another job, even if it pays you more. The goal for this channel is to help you achieve financial freedom. So if you like this video, please give it a like and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any videos coming up. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.